Greetings and salutations, future diplomats. Welcome to our ninth class, our ninth exercise list, based on questions for the first phase for the TPS English exam. And continuing on with our thematic rotation. Oh, sorry. Okay. Here's a mistake. Continuing with our thematic rotation, we will today have two more texts for you guys with 5 questions as always, and I'm going to share it with you now. Okay, here we go. This week is a longer text, a little bit longer, but not that long. There have been longer texts than this one. Like for instance, this one has, count the words here. This one has 449 words. The Virginia Woolf text, for instance, had 550 words. So this text can be as long as this one in your TPS exam, so don't worry too much. Although I guess they tend to be shorter this time around, because before we had 13 English questions, and now we're down to 9. So I don't think they would want test various texts on you guys, and they wouldn't necessarily stick to one big one as they did before. Okay, so let's start. Here we have a text about the impact of cities in society, and this text basically says that historians have a lackluster record of exploring how cities historically helped shape society and helped shape political views. It's a very interesting subject, and it sheds new light on the current political situation, especially in the United States, where you have this great cleavage between rural agrarian societies of the Midwest and the huge megalopolis societies, the urban societies of the northeastern United States and also of the west coast of the United States, where they have radically different political views. And now after Trump, it's even been more polarized. So this article gives us a new insight on how the process of urbanization itself helped shape politics and society in these countries. And also the lack of studies by historians in this subject matter, which has always been the realm of philosophers and sociologists, not so much historians. Okay, so let's get moving on. All right. Question number 1. According to the text, decide whether the following statements are right or wrong. Very simple question header here, so let's continue. Historians are not too keen on researching the role of cities in society because it's not a very popular read. Okay, and this one is incorrect. It doesn't say that historians, you can infer that from the text that historians are not keen on researching cities in the process of urbanization itself, and especially not because it's not a very popular read. What they're saying, what the author here is saying, is that historians never felt there was a subject matter which was important to them. So he says that historians have the opportunity to be our most important interpreters of the ways that global social processes articulate for small-scale social lives. Generally, historians do not answer the call. Okay, they do not answer the call, and anytime they publish an article before, they struggle to find readers. So they never really try to delve in too deep into the subject matter. And it wasn't necessarily because of lack of popularity, and usually studies don't look for There's not a popularity contest. They look for interesting subject matters that they want to delve into. Historians never really had that oomph to research urbanization issues. Okay? So number 1 is incorrect. Number 2, historians feel somewhat superior to other humanities scholars. And this one is incorrect as well. You can guess by the context as well. Historians don't necessarily find themselves superior, although I suspect some do. But it's not an official position of historians, of historian scholars, that they feel superior to other humanities. They just don't feel especially drawn to these subject matters. That doesn't necessarily mean that they feel superior to sociologists or to philosophers. It means that they try to search other other research fields and not urbanization per se, because they were never exposed to it, basically, I think. So it doesn't necessarily say that they will feel superior to other humanities, other fields, other areas of humanities research. Okay. Right. Moving on to question number 3. It can be inferred, watch out, remember all this. It can be inferred from the text that cities have a profound impact on one's political view. And this one is correct. It's inferred all through the text that urbanization helps shape the view of a few societies. Okay, it says many times here throughout the text, the widening political, like if you listen here, if you look at this sentence over here, this area, you will see that the widening political polarization between big cities and rural areas in the United States as well as Europe has driven home the point of quite how much the relationship between cities and the provinces, the metropolis and the country, shapes political lives of societies. Okay, so it can be inferred here, especially from this little section of the text, that indeed urbanization and urban life versus rural life and agrarian life can shape your political views. We see this a lot. There's the general tendencies of urban dwellers to be more quote unquote liberal, social liberals, and urban and agrarian dwellers to be more quote unquote social conservatives. Okay, so it can help shape your political views. Okay. So this one is correct. Question 1, item number 4. Historians have shown a distaste for historic urbanization issues, or for historical urbanization issues. This is incorrect here. For historical urbanization issues. And again, this is incorrect. This is basically is a retreading of item number 1. You cannot say from this text that they show a distaste, actually. It seems that they never actually thought about the issue more than a distaste, that they hate a hatred of urban issues. What it seems to me is just a general, not even disinterest. It's they've never even thought of the subject as a historical subject. Okay, so it's not so much a distaste as rather a lack of knowledge in the field, which discourages many historians from even getting into the research in the area. Okay. Okay, so recapping question number 1, we have item number 1 wrong, item number 2 wrong, item number 3 correct, and item number 4 a wrong again. All right. Question number 2. The following sentence fragment written in bold, so you go back here, is this one written in bold? Spatial political clustering could grow more pronounced, could be rewritten as spatial political bundling could grow more conspicuous without affecting its meaning. And it's correct. I basically just substituted the words clustering and pronounced for their synonyms. The word clustering to group together, to bundle, and also we have pronounced, meaning it's more evident, it's more relevant. In evidence is the same as conspicuous, which is the inverse of inconspicuous, means that it's not noticeable. So when you say something is more conspicuous, it means it's more noticeable, is more relevant, which is the same thing as meaning it's more pronounced. It's, you pay attention to it more. It becomes more evident. Okay. So this one is a simple vocab question, and it's correct. The Khmer Rouge, in contrast with other movements which preach the romantic view of agrarian life, sought to bring city life to the forefront. And this one is a very convoluted item, but it's incorrect, as you can see. It doesn't say that the Khmer Rouge wanted to bring urban life to the forefront. Mao, here, if you look at this sentence, Mao's Cultural Revolution in China pursued the back to the land agenda with no less than the Khmer Rouge's genocidal view of raising city life altogether in Cambodia. So raising city life in this case, it's not raising as in putting it up, but it's raising in the sense of scorching, of destroying it completely. When you raise a city, you destroy it completely. So in this case, he's saying the opposite. He wanted to destroy urban life. He wanted to promote completely rural and agrarian life, almost like Mao Zedong, and return to the land. Okay, so it's the opposite, actually. All right, so item number 2 is incorrect. All right. Question number 2, item number 3. It can be inferred that Thomas Jefferson had a penchant, or penchant, if you want to be more American, for a rural lifestyle. All right. And this one is correct. Thomas Jefferson, if you read here, some claim that Jeffersonian agrarianism indelibly engraved ruralist bias into U.S. political culture. Okay, so Jeffersonian agrarianism, it infers that Thomas Jefferson preferred a rural life than an urban life. If you ever go to the United States, he even had his estate in Mount Vernon, Virginia, which was a rural area of Virginia, not so anymore. He always loved to live in the countryside, and he had a distaste for urban life. So this one is correct. It can be inferred. It's not specifically said in the text, but it can be inferred that Thomas Jefferson had a penchant for a rural lifestyle. Okay, he had a liking he had an affinity for a rural lifestyle. Okay. Question 2, item number 4. Urbanization's impact on society can be felt even in today's political panorama. And this one is quite obvious. This is correct. If you just read here at the beginning of the second paragraph, the answer is right there. Current politics can be a good place to start. In the US political elections of 2016, urban and rural people voted so differently that country population density was a better electoral predictor than race, income, education, or gender. Okay, all right. So here they're clearly saying that urbanization had an impact in the 2016 election, being that, as I said before, rurals tend to be more conservative and urban dwellers tend to be more liberal voters. Okay, so that will be the urbanization levels of a certain area will be a much better predictor of elections than even other items such as race, income, gender, etc. All right, so this one is correct. So recapping here, question number 2, we have item number 1 correct, item number 2 incorrect, item number 3 correct, and item number 4 correct. All right. Now moving on to question number 3. Based on the text, judge the following items. Item number 1, the expression mongrel products in bold type has a somewhat derogatory connotation. In mongrel, if you go to the dictionary, if you go here to Cambridge Dictionary, something I like to use, you would see that the word mongrel is used to denote a dog of mixed breed. We're seeing a dog of mixed race, a half-breed dog. So this would mean somebody of a multi-ethnic. This is a connotation that they're meaning here, a multi-ethnic person. And you can see they're comparing them to animals, so it's something quite derogatory. So here I would say that this expression is indeed somewhat derogatory. Calling here, if you go back to the text, at the same time they saw the Tango of Buenos Aires as a mongrel product. So here you would see the Tango of Buenos Aires would be a half-breed, almost animalistic product, half-breed, mixed race product, a mutt, if you will, dog. So there will be a degenerate musical genre of an immigrant port city. So comparing the degenerate urban areas full of mongrel products to urban, more pure areas and rural areas. Okay, so it's quite derogatory, I would say. All right. Number 2, urban life is not as conducive to strong political views as rural life is. And this one is incorrect. What the text is saying that urban life creates different, very radical, different political views from rural life, but it doesn't say that they're less strong or that they're stronger than a rural life. To say that it's different. There's a different political view, not that it's stronger or weaker than rural life. Okay, so this one is incorrect. It doesn't say that urban life is more conducive or less conducive to stronger or weaker political views. It just says it's conducive to a different political view. All right. Item number 3. Rural life is construed by some politicians as a more legitimate lifestyle than its urban counterpart. And this is correct. You see a lot of politicians, even here, quoting Jefferson, even Trump, and the Narodniks in Russia, and all of these, Mao Zedong, all agreed that, well, all tried to pass on the image that urban life was conducive to generate ideas and not pure ideas and not a pure political view, so that urban life wasn't as authentic or as legitimate as rural traditional agrarian life. Okay, so this one is correct. Oh, oop, I read it wrong. I'm sorry. Urban life is not as conducive to strong political views. Again, this is the same. Oh, and this one. Oh no, this is correct. Oops, sorry, I read the wrong item. Rural life is construed by some politicians. Yes, that is correct. As I was saying, like Mao Zedong and others would agree with this point, that rural life is a more legitimate lifestyle than its urban counterpart. Of course, it's political discourse. I don't know if they really thought that, but it makes for good political discourse. Okay, so this one is correct. All right. Narodniks did not believe in an idealized view of agrarian life. And this one is incorrect. This is the opposite of the item before. The Neurotics did believe in an idealized view of agrarian life. As if you see here, Russia's Narodniks, a group of middle-class intellectuals in the 1860s and 70s, preached peasant romanticism. So romanticism gets the idea of an idealized agrarian life, which was very in line with literature at that time, the Romantic movement, which idealized traditional rural life as opposed to the degeneracy of modernity of urban life. Okay. All right. So this one is incorrect. They did believe in the idealized view of agrarian life. So recapping here, question number 3. We have item number 1 correct, item number 2 incorrect, item number 3 correct, item number 4 incorrect. Okay. All right. All right, now we're going to move on to question number 4, and question number 4 is from the 2012 TPS. Okay, and it's a little text about slavery, actually, and how slaves dealt with their conditions. Okay, so let's move on. Based on the text, judge right or wrong the following items. Again, very simple header, as they always do often now. TPS. Okay, now question number 4. Let's read it. The music produced by slaves had the power to incite them to rebel against their appalling conditions. Appalling means horrible conditions. Okay. Now let's see where they talk about the songs. They would sing as a chorus, towards which to many would seem unmeaning jargon. Meaning jargon meaning that they were speaking words that to others that couldn't be understood, but which nevertheless were full of meaning to themselves. I have sometimes thought that the mere hearing of those songs would do more to impress some minds with the horrible character of slavery than reading the whole volumes of philosophies on the subject could do. I did not, when a slave, understand the deep meaning of those rude and apparently incoherent songs. I myself within the circle, so that I would never saw and heard those without might see and hear. Okay. Okay, so the music would incite more sorrow, and less sense of rebellion, but more depressive, introspective feelings. So it didn't have the power to incite necessarily them to rebel against their condition, their appalling condition. Okay. So that number 1 is incorrect. Number 2, the author of the text ascribes his nascent political awareness regarding slavery to the tunes he heard slaves sing. And this one is correct. In the author himself, the songs did have that impact later. As he says here, to those songs I trusted my first glimmering conception of the humanitizing character of slavery. I can never get rid of that conception. The songs still follow me to deepen my hatred of slavery and quicken my sympathies for my brother in bond. Okay. So from here we can infer that these songs indeed did ascribe the author nascent feeling of political awareness of the situation of slaves, just by remembering those songs he would hear. Okay. The narrator believes that his fellow slaves managed to translate their dire predicament into moving tunes. That is correct. The slaves were able to condense their condition, to express their condition through song, and their dire situation through song, as the effects had. You can see the effects it had on the author. The hearing of those wild notes always depressed my spirit and filled me with ineffable sadness. Okay, so they were able to express their dire conditions through song, which is correct as well. Okay. To outsiders, the music sung by the slaves would probably sound like babbling. And that is correct. Here's that sentence I just read, which says that to words which to many would seem unmeaning jargon. Okay, so unmeaning jargon has the same sense as babbling. It's, jargon is usually used in the connotation of technical words that you layman's would not understand, but in this case is saying that people from outside of that condition would not understand the words, would not understand what they were saying, so it would sound like babbling. All right, so this one is correct. All right, so recapping question number 4, we have number 1 incorrect, number 2 correct, number 3 correct, number 4 correct as well. So 3 corrects and 1 incorrect. Okay. All right, moving on to question number 5. The fragment quickened my sympathies for my brethren in bonds, in bold type, in bold, means that the narrator is fast when it comes to forging emotional and spiritual bonds with his own real family through music. And this is incorrect. He's using the word brethren here as his brothers, meaning his brothers in a more metaphorical sense, as in brothers in the sense of community, not of your actual family, not your blood family, but sense of his community. So with these songs, he feels a lot more sympathy for what slaves went through and for what the African American community went through in the United States, basically. So he feels more connected with them, not to his real family through music. Okay, he's forging an emotional and spiritual bond to through a community and not to his family. Okay, so this one is incorrect. In question number 2, in that then the reading of whole volumes, the omission of the definite article would not interfere with the grammar correction of the sentence. And this one is incorrect. This is a grammar question. If you would remove the definite article the, it would become then reading than reading of whole volumes. Okay. This would be more generalistic. It could be the act of reading in general. In this case, he's talking about the reading, the actual act of reading those volumes, those philosophical books about slavery. So he was saying that it would have a slight difference in the sense of the sentence. So if you remove the definite article, you generalize the statement. Okay, so you have to really be careful because this is a mistake that most Brazilians make. They usually put too many articles in their sentence when they're writing, especially for the composition. And in this case, it was necessary because it would change the meaning. Because he's referring to the act of reading itself, of reading those volumes, and not a general sense of reading, of learning, of learning through philosophy. Sense. Okay, so if you remove the definite article, you generalize the statement. If you keep the article, it's more specifically denoting a specific situation that you're in, that you're trying to convey. So in this case, it would change the meaning. Okay, so it's incorrect. All right. It would become more of a noun with a definite article there and not a verb so much. Okay, and question number 5, item number 3. The relationship I think this one is incorrect. I'll correct it later. The relationship with the word within in bold bears with without in bold is one of opposition. Okay. And this one is correct. This is pretty easy. Within meaning something within, when inside of you, and without something outside. In this case, is what he's saying, or having having nothing as well, without something. But in this case, he was doing an opposition of saying that those who are outside of the group and within those who are inside the group. Okay, so the without here does have the connotation of opposition to within. Okay. Okay, let's go item number 4, question number 5. Although the slaves' song touched the narrator's heart, the uncultured quality of their music sometimes annoyed him, as shown in the fragment. The hearing of those wild notes always depressed my spirit involved. No, he wasn't depressed because the song was so bad. He was depressed because of the subject matter, because they could convey very well their dire conditions into song. That's why he was depressed, not because the song was bad. Okay, so it wasn't the uncultured quality of their music. It was the subject matter, but it was very good because they conveyed very well their feelings, their emotions, and their predicament through song. So no, it's and actually this one is completely incorrect, even laughable, I would think. Okay, so this one is incorrect. So recapping question number 5, we have item number 1 wrong, item number 2 wrong, item number 3 correct, and item number 4 we have incorrect. Okay, all right. So here, thank you very much. This concludes our exercise list. We will be back with some more exercises next week. Week number 10. We'll delve into some more philosophical and language matters next week. And then we go back to our international relations, diplomatic discourse type of questions the other week. Okay. All right, so thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this class. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please send me an email directly here, and I will answer all of your questions and comments. Okay. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys next time.